Xi Jinping's absence, though, is not really being felt in Glasgow. The COP26 climate summit is going as per plan. It has entered its second day. What happened on the first one? Well, quite a lot. World leaders turned up the heat with their end of the world rhetoric. Their metaphors were dramatic, their actions the exact opposite. Take Joe Biden, for example. He was caught taking a quick nap, enjoying a good shut-eye as the opening speeches began. Moments later, he walked onto the podium to declare there's no more time to hang back or sit on the fence.
There's no more time to hang back or sit on the fence or argue amongst ourselves. This is the challenge of our collective lifetimes.
Indeed it is, which is why it requires a collective effort. But some leaders who arrived in Glasgow were not even able to participate in the proceedings on day one. Like Karine Elharrar. She's the energy minister of Israel. She suffers from muscular dystrophy. She wasn't able to make it to the conference because it was inaccessible to people in wheelchairs. Here's what happened. The organizers refused to let the minister's vehicle enter the compound. They insisted that she take their shuttle instead. But the shuttle was not wheelchair accessible. The organizers refused to make any arrangements. The minister had to return to a hotel in Edinburgh, some 80 kilometers away. And from there, she tweeted. She condemned the conduct of the organizers. She said, and I'm quoting, "I came to COP26 to meet with my counterparts from around the world. It is sad that the UN, which promotes accessibility for people with disabilities, does not provide accessibility to its events." That's a fair point, we say. How will the UN take care of the future, the climate and global warming when it can't even take care of its delegates, the ones who've arrived for its conference? This is a question that many in Israel are asking. Back in the UK, many are wondering if COP26 is being held for the climate or to promote the brand of the British monarchy. Because the royal family's involvement in this year's summit is a bit too much. The Queen is not in Glasgow, but she has sent her family. They're rubbing shoulders with world leaders, preaching climate action. Their own record is not so glorious, though. We'll discuss that in a bit. First, look at these images. They're from Monday night. An evening reception was held at the Kelvin Grove Museum. World leaders arrived in a double-decker bus. The royals came in their luxury cars. They had a fancy dinner, they relished some good wine, and then they huddled together to hear a message, a video message from the Queen. What did she say? She briefed world leaders about their duties towards the planet.
It is the hope of many that the legacy of this summit, written in history books yet to be printed, will describe you as the leaders who did not pass up the opportunity, and that you answered the call of those future generations. That you left this conference as a community of nations with a determination, a desire, and a plan to address the impact of climate change, and to recognize that the time for words has now moved to the time for action.
The time for words has moved to time for action. Wise words, but take them with a pinch of salt, and I'll tell you why. The royal family's combined footprint, carbon footprint, tallies up to a massive 3,810 tons every year. Now, for the sake of perspective, the average Brit has an annual carbon footprint of just 10 tons every year. So the royals are part of the problem, not the solution. Plus, last year, the Queen was accused of lobbying to exempt herself from climate laws. So much for their climate activism. The royals should restrict themselves, perhaps, to bringing glamour to such events. Their hypocrisy is being called out. Royals who pollute and preach, and world leaders who land in 400 private jets to talk climate action. This is not lost on the world. Protesters gathered outside the venue of this evening gala. They held banners that read, "We are watching you."
95%. How did you make it today? Nice.
The next morning, these protesters were joined by their star campaigner, Greta Thunberg. She attended a demonstration outside the COP venue. She accused world leaders of pretending to take people's future seriously, and then she was filmed singing. I can't describe what. I can only show it to you.
You can shove your climate crisis up. You can shove your climate crisis up. You can shove your climate crisis. You can shove your climate crisis. You can shove your climate crisis up.
A productive thing to say. It's truly inspiring. I'm sure this will compel everyone to take the climate crisis seriously. Then we have a group of athletes, around 50 of them, representing 40 countries, making an appeal. There's Tom Daley, Andy Murray, Hannah Bill, Melissa Wilson, and Max Whitlock, among others. They've all released a joint video statement to tell politicians that they need to show real ambition and courage to secure the future.
Dear leaders of the world,
this summer at the Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games,
we as athletes chased excellence in the face of challenges.
To overcome obstacles.
to lead the pack.
To go faster, higher, stronger.
Together. Under immense pressure and adversity.
We delivered. Now is your chance to deliver.
This is the race we need to win.
And the speed of the race is determined by each of the participants in it.
At COP26,
The Olympics of Climate Summits.
we need you to lead us.
To show real ambition and courage.
Working together to secure the future that we all depend on.
Anything less won't win this race.
They're right, it won't. So instead of predicting catastrophes and issuing doomsday warnings, what world leaders need to do is make commitments, real, concrete commitments. India has made one. It has pledged net zero by 2070, meaning that India will become a carbon neutral country by the year 2070. It will balance carbon emissions with carbon absorption. That's net zero. So effectively, you don't add any greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. India has pledged to do this, to achieve this by 2070. This was the highlight of the 5 commitments made by Prime Minister Modi.
क्लाइमेट चेंज पर इस वैश्विक मंथन के बीच मैं भारत की ओर से इस चुनौती से निपटने के लिए 5 अमृत तत्व रखना चाहता हूं, पंचामृत की सौगात देना चाहता हूं। पहला, भारत 2030 तक अपनी नॉन फॉसिल एनर्जी कैपेसिटी को 500 गीगावाट तक पहुंचाएगा। दूसरा, भारत 2030 तक अपनी 50% एनर्जी रिक्वायरमेंट रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी से पूरी करेगा। तीसरा, भारत अब से लेकर 2030 तक के कुल प्रोजेक्टेड कार्बन एमिशन में 1 बिलियन टन की कमी करेगा। चौथा, 2030 तक भारत अपनी अर्थव्यवस्था की कार्बन इंटेंसिटी को 45% से भी कम करेगा। और पांचवा, वर्ष 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल करेगा।
It's a practical commitment. India has resisted the 2050 net zero goal pressure set by rich countries. Instead, it has taken its capabilities and challenges into account to set a real achievable target. As for those in the West questioning this target, here's a reminder to them about the broken promises of the developed world. The promise to contribute $100 billion as climate finance by 2020. Last we checked, they had delayed this target to 2023. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.